During a family holiday, my daughter-in-law sneered, "You're embarrassing us with your stories. Go to your room." She took my plate and poured it in the trash. My son laughed alongside her. My eyes filled with tears as I said, "You'll learn the truth when you see what I've kept hidden." It started months before Thanksgiving, actually. Eric had stopped calling regularly. Used to be we'd talk every Sunday like clockwork. Just check-ins. I didn't ask much. How the kids were, how work was going, that kind of thing. Then it turned into once every few weeks. Then maybe a text. Eventually, silence. I figured they were just busy. Life with kids is hard. I tried not to take it personal. When he called me in early November and said, "You should come for Thanksgiving," I was surprised. Jenna had never been warm to me. Always made me feel like I was intruding. But I thought maybe things were finally changing. I got hopeful, which I now realize was a mistake. I spent hours making my old cornbread casserole. It's Eric's favorite. Used to be, anyway. I made it every year when he was a kid. He'd sneak spoonfuls before dinner when he thought I wasn't looking. I also packed that photo album. The one with all the pictures from when Eric was little, Christmas mornings, backyard birthday parties, school plays. I thought maybe the kids would want to see them. I thought maybe Jenna might finally see the life I gave him before she came along. When I showed up, I knew immediately I didn't belong. Jenna's family was everywhere. Her parents, her sister, cousins I'd never met. They were polite enough, barely, but not one of them really looked me in the eye. Eric barely said anything. He was too busy helping Jenna's dad set up the TV for the Cowboys game. I tried to stay out of the way. Found a quiet spot in the living room. I opened the photo album and flipped through the pages, smiling to myself, hoping someone might sit with me. The kids were playing with their iPads, not even glancing at me. So I tried making small talk. I started telling the story about the year Eric won the school spelling bee, how he spelled catastrophe, and shocked the whole auditorium. It was always one of his proudest moments. Jenna walked by, heard me talking, and didn't even try to hide the disgust in her face. She looked at me, then at her sister, and said loud and clear, "You're embarrassing us with your stories. Go to your room." I blinked. I actually thought I'd misheard. But then I saw Eric, my son, laugh. Not a little nervous chuckle. A real, belly laugh like he agreed with her. I stared at him, waiting for him to say something. To defend me. He didn't. He avoided my eyes and kept laughing. Then Jenna reached down, took my plate right out from under me. It was full. I hadn't even had a bite. And walked to the kitchen. I followed her with my eyes, stunned. She dumped it straight into the trash. That's when my hands started shaking. I felt it in my chest, tight, like my heart was being squeezed. I wasn't just humiliated. I was gutted. I stood up slowly. I looked around the room. No one met my gaze. I said, very quietly, "You'll learn the truth when you see what I've kept hidden." Eric looked confused, like I was speaking another language. Jenna snorted and muttered, "Whatever." I didn't say another word. I picked up my purse and walked out the door. What they don't know is that I've been keeping a lot of things hidden over the years. Things that could change how they see me and each other. I've protected Eric from things that would have crushed him. I gave up things I never should have had to give up for him. And now I'm done being the one who swallows it all just to keep the peace. They think I'm just a sad, old woman who doesn't know her place. But they're going to learn. And when they do, it's not just going to be awkward. It's going to hurt. After I left their house that night, I sat in my car in the driveway for 10 minutes before I could drive. My hands were still trembling on the steering wheel. I couldn't cry. I was too stunned for tears. My own son, my own blood, laughing while his wife tossed my dinner in the trash like I was nothing. I didn't drive home right away. I went to a 24-hour diner near the interstate. Sat in a booth by the window, ordered a grilled cheese and coffee just to have something warm in front of me. The waitress asked if I was okay. I lied and said I was fine, but something inside me had cracked wide open. The next few days, I didn't hear a word from Eric. No call, no text, nothing. I checked my phone constantly, expecting some sort of apology, or even just an explanation. I would have accepted anything. But there was silence. Cold, empty silence. So I started looking through the things I'd kept in my closet. Boxes I hadn't opened in years. I found the file I was thinking about that night at their house, the one I called my if ever needed folder. I had kept it since 2009. It had copies of checks, letters, legal papers. All proof of the things I'd done for Eric behind the scenes. All the sacrifices I'd made. Things he never knew about because I didn't want to burden him. Back in 2008, Eric was in serious trouble. He was 25 then, fresh out of college, drowning in debt from a failed business and a credit card scam he'd fallen for. He called me crying one night, scared he'd lose his apartment, ruin his credit, maybe even face charges. I bailed him out. Quietly. I liquidated one of my retirement accounts. Covered nearly $47,000 of debt. I made it disappear before it could ruin his life. I told him I had some savings. He never asked questions. He didn't want to know. A year later, I paid off the balance of his student loans after he lost his job. Another $16,000. Again, I never told him it wiped out my emergency fund. I just wanted him to have a clean slate. I believed that's what mothers do. Then, 2 years after that, when he was trying to buy a house with Jenna, their mortgage broker called me behind Eric's back. He said Eric and Jenna's joint credit wasn't strong enough without a cosigner. Jenna refused to ask her parents. I said yes. I co-signed their loan. So when I say they wouldn't be living in that nice 2-story house in Plano without me, I mean it literally. That house is still half tied to my credit. My name is buried in the paperwork, but it's there. And Jenna knew. She knew. I found an email from their real estate agent in the file, a thank you note sent to all 3 of us after closing. She's just pretending now like I'm disposable. Like I never mattered. That night, I made copies of everything. Digital and physical. Put them on a USB drive and scanned them into my cloud. I didn't want revenge at first. I just wanted acknowledgement. Maybe even gratitude. So I mailed Eric a letter. A real one. Not an email. In it, I reminded him of a few things. Things he might have conveniently forgotten. I didn't mention Thanksgiving. I didn't bring up Jenna. I just wrote, "It's time we talked about everything I've done to keep you afloat over the years. Because now I'm thinking about pulling my name off that house."
He didn't respond.
But Jenna did. She emailed me a week later. Short and sharp. She accused me of blackmailing them. Said I was making up stories and trying to destroy their family out of spite. Then she blocked my number. Eric never wrote. Never called. I watched the days roll by, stunned at how fast they cut me off. That's when I stopped hoping. That's when it turned from heartbreak into something else. Resolve. I'm not just going to show them what I've kept hidden. I'm going to use it. And I know exactly how. I had every intention of going through the legal route, quietly removing my name from the mortgage, letting the fallout hit them slowly. But then something happened that changed everything. About 3 weeks after Jenna blocked me, I got a call from a woman named Tasha. She sounded nervous. Said she used to work with Jenna at her old job, a marketing firm in downtown Dallas. I didn't recognize her name, but she said, "I found your number on a printed emergency contact sheet back when Jenna was still at the office. You don't know me, but I think you should." I almost hung up, but something in her voice stopped me. I was close with Jenna for a while, she said, until I found out what she and Eric were doing behind the scenes. That got my full attention. Tasha told me Jenna had been manipulating Eric financially for years, pressuring him to funnel money into a joint investment account she controlled. She said Jenna bragged about it, that she called Eric soft and said he wouldn't question her because he felt like he owed her for standing by him during his rough years. She also mentioned something I didn't expect. Jenna had been pushing Eric to cut me off completely. Said I was toxic, manipulative, and a threat to their future. Jenna's own words. According to Tasha, this wasn't recent. She had been trying to isolate Eric from me for years, even before they got married. Apparently, Jenna hated how much influence I had in Eric's life, and she wanted it gone. For good. It made me sick to hear, but it also confirmed everything I'd been sensing. I thanked Tasha, and asked her to send me whatever she had. Emails, texts, anything. 2 days later, she sent me screenshots. Long threads. Jenna talking trash about me to her coworkers, calling me a walking guilt trip, even mocking the fact that I still wore my wedding ring, like a ghost wife. Then came the biggest twist of all. Tasha mentioned that Jenna had been bragging about moving everything into her name slowly. Bank accounts, investments, even the house. I dug back into the mortgage documents. Sure enough, I found something strange, an addendum I'd never signed. A change to the deed filed after the closing. I didn't understand all of it, but it looked like someone had tried to remove my name without notifying me. That's when I called a real estate attorney. 2 weeks later, he confirmed it. The deed was altered improperly. My signature was forged. I was still a legal part owner of that house. But someone had tried to wipe me off the record. Now I wasn't just hurt. I was furious. And I had more power than they thought. I've stayed quiet for years. But I'm not quiet anymore. I've spoken to an attorney. I've gathered documents, texts, emails, proof. I'm preparing something they can't ignore. Something public, legal, and permanent. They tried to erase me from their lives. Now, they're about to find out just how much damage a forgotten mother can do when she's finally had enough. My attorney, a sharp woman named Carla, didn't waste time. After reviewing everything, my original co-signature, the altered deed, and the forgery, she said we had a solid case for fraud. She also said I had the legal right to force the sale of the house. "Are you sure you want to go this far?" she asked. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "They treated me like I was disposable. Let's show them what I've been holding back." We filed the motion within a week. Eric was served first. Jenna next. I didn't warn them. Didn't text, didn't call. Just let the paperwork land with all its weight. The suit named them both and demanded either a full buyout of my share or a for sale of the home, with public disclosure of the fraudulent deed change. I made sure everything was above board. The fallout started almost immediately. Eric tried to call me the day after the papers hit their mailbox. I let it go to voicemail. He sounded panicked. "Mom, what are you doing? Can we talk? Please don't do this." The second voicemail was Jenna, angry, venomous. "You're trying to ruin our lives? Over what? Some stupid Thanksgiving. You're insane." I didn't respond. I'd said all I needed to say. They hired their own lawyer. Tried to claim the deed issue was a clerical mistake. But the forgery? That wasn't a clerical error. That was criminal. The handwriting analysis proved it wasn't mine. Carla advised me to offer them a choice. Buy me out at market rate within 60 days or face public litigation. I could have dragged it out. I could have gone for blood. But I didn't want to destroy Eric. I wanted him to see what he allowed Jenna to become and what he became right alongside her. They scrambled for the money. It was clear they didn't have it. Jenna's investment account was empty. She had been siphoning money into a separate account in her name only, just like Tasha said. Eric didn't even know. I watched as their perfect little life unraveled. They listed the house, had to pull the kids out of their private school, moved into a rental in a worse neighborhood. Jenna's parents refused to help them financially. Turns out they'd warned Eric years ago not to mix family and money. Once the sale closed, my cut came out to $186,000. Carla asked if I wanted to press charges over the forged signature. I declined. I had what I needed. I took the money, fixed up my house, paid off the last of my medical bills, and booked myself a trip to Maine, a place I'd always wanted to visit but never could afford. Eric sent one final email. It was short. "I'm sorry. I didn't know what she was doing. I should have stood up for you. I was weak." I read it twice, then closed my laptop. I didn't reply. Because here's the thing. Sometimes the people we love most betray us the deepest. And when that happens, you don't get justice by waiting for an apology. You get justice by showing them you're not the fool they thought you were. I may be old, but I'm not done. Not by a long shot. They thought they buried me. They didn't know I was the root. And now I'm growing back stronger without them.